Hello, my name is Michael, and today I'm going to be walking you through the game that I am developing, which I'm calling Break a Leg, a community theater life sim fused with a deck builder. What we're looking to do is capture the community theater experience. And so, what I wanted to do today was talk through my vision and design for the deck builder. How every season is going to play out. Whenever the player starts a new game, they will automatically go into show selection, where they will select what show they're going to put on. They're going to select their production team, and this is where they'll get to see all of the unique cards per production team member and really choose what combinations they want to combine together in terms of the deck builder. The player will then go through auditions, and after auditions, where they select their leads, they'll then build their ensemble and their starting decks. They then go into the week rehearsal period where they start with scene 1, 2, and 3 rehearsals, and then for a little over 2 full weeks, they go through either full run or scene rehearsals. Then on the final week, they do tech runs where the game is automatically progressing and they're playing cards live, into opening night where the player then gets to sit back and watch the show that they just made. This then goes into a season transition where the player has 3 days before the next season starts. This is where I see very natural things like holiday events and things for the life sim to play out, but we're just kind of putting this on hold for now. But after the last night of the season transition, the player goes back to the start and continues this through the next season. So that's kind of the general flow. And then I'm looking to have all of the players that you're interacting with, all of the community members, having their own schedule to kind of show where they are at throughout the day. This is going to be something that gets unlocked as you increase their relationship level with them, and it lets you know where they're at during the day. And what's interesting is, depending on what they're doing that day, it'll dictate the energy that they're going to show up to rehearsal with. So if they've had a really stressful day at work, they might not be on their A game at rehearsals here with it. Next is my vision for what the deck builder is going to look like, and it looks kind of messy right now because it's just a lot thrown up on the screen. But let me walk through each and every one of these bits and pieces individually here with it. Overall, we have our scene tracker, our measure tracker, and our note tracker to show us what note we're currently on. We have a highlight of what production team member we're currently playing. We have information about that production team member. We have our lead and ensemble territories. We have our deck information, our hand, and then our total score up top. So for the production team member, when you select them, you get to see their inspiration, which is their ability to play cards. It's their currency for playing cards. So if a card costs 1 inspiration, you have 2 inspiration left after that. Draw is how many cards are drawn at the start of each note, and skill is the multiplier that the player gets when they are adding things to their card. You see the current relationship level of the production team member, and then you see various other things of information like their overall mood, their diva level, their energy level, their stress level, and any mood effects that they might have. Pretty much straightforward for all of those except diva, but one of my friends gave me, her husband gave me the idea that there should be divas in this game. And so I thought it would be really cool that the higher that is, the diva level is, the more likelihood there is that they'll have a diva moment and demand the player make an action. This could be playing a specific card or playing any card in a specific location, but it will require the player to either choose the diva moment or to reject the diva moment, and they'll have different consequences for that. And if the player selects a cast member, same information, only the inspiration, draw, and skill is replaced by their singing, dancing, acting, and stage presence skills. When your characters are out in the ensemble, lead, or production member spots, You'll be able to click on them to see more information about them. They'll have little speech bubbles where they'll be talking to each other. They'll have different mood rings around them to show what their current mood is. And leads will actually say their script lines as they're going through the scene here. Because, yep, I'm writing scripts for each of these shows. And then the group status effect says what statuses are being applied to that group. For each territory, so for the lead territory and the ensemble territory, they both have prop and costume slots. These are stage manager items that can be equipped that persist for the entire measure. So think of it like an item equipped slot that persists for the entire measure, and it impacts the scores or the generation of score for the territory that it's applied to. Long term, I would love to be able to actually add that in, add a prop in or add a costume on top of the character for that scene. I think that would be really cool. But for the ensemble themselves, they have a formation slot, which is a choreographer card that dictates the formation that the ensemble is in for it. And that applies various status effects. Like this, where they play a line formation, the ensemble goes into a line. We also have the scores. The biggest takeaway with scores is that the ensemble scores are multiplied by the lead scores, and the base scores that are being multiplied together are the average of the singing, dancing, acting multiplied by the familiarity of those scores. And so the more familiar they are with the show, the higher score they'll generate. Once you sum up everything for that note, the note sums up to the measure sums up to the scene sums up to the show. So a show is the score of multiple different notes. And so the player will be able to select the different, in the setup, they'll be able to click on a note and select the different notes that they want in there. And notes basically dictate the rounds the player will play that scene right there. Cards are pretty straightforward. They'll have their inspiration cost, the rarity, what territories can you play them in, the title, the description, and the type. So depending on the role that the player's in, they'll have different types of cards. Then for the hand mechanics, we'll draw each note based on the draw level of the production team member. And so when you play a card gets moved to discard pile. When you play a card with consume, move it to the consumed pile. When you run out of cards, reshuffle from your discard pile. As an example, you select your music director, you play their hand, you move on to your choreographer, you play their hand, you move on to your music director, you play their hand, move on to the stage manager, play their hand, then progress to the next note and start that cycle over again. Up next are future ideas that I have. So these are potential things that I want to add to the game, but I don't know if they fit in too well. So I would love to hear your feedback in the comments about these ideas to see if this is aligned with what you feel like this game should be. First idea is determining the scene vibe. So the scene vibe would be whether it's a more character-y of a scene or more real of a scene. And they give different effects. The audience would react to them differently. Some scenes might have a preferred alignment that you're trying to shoot for. But basically, as you're playing cards, it's a little tug of war between the real and the character score that is going back and forth. Next up are making procedural relationship matrices. So being able to select on any of your cast member and see a web of relationships that they have formed with their cast members and people outside of the cast. And the last one is I want there, as the players sitting in the game, to have a chance for cast members to start having conversations with each other. And once one person starts having a conversation, it's more likely that the next person will start having a conversation. And once that next person has a conversation, it's even more likely that the third group of people have a conversation. So I want it to naturally over time get more and more conversation. And what that'll do is it'll increase the moments and frequency that they're connecting with each other, building relationship, but they'll lose their familiarity score. So their familiarity score will start to plummet. And so the player can shh them and cause all conversation to stop and maybe gain some of that familiarity back. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said in the previous video, I'm going to try to do this once a week to kind of show you guys all how the game's evolving. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to start development on this this Monday after work. So thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next week.